Serral, the opening matchup of Matcherino versus Basilisk. A match that's very important for Matcherino, but is obviously as well very unlikely to really go their way. Basilisk got just that freaking good. Maybe Astrea can make some magic happen, but he has to start up against Serral. I think it would have been better if Astrea had grabbed like a Raynor or someone. Like if Astrea had grabbed Raynor, maybe you waste Serral on Matcherino's weaker player. Maybe then you have a better shot as Matcherino. As it stands right now, and then maybe you get like Nightmare versus Trigger as well. As it stands right now with the lineup, the fact that Astrea hits Serral, I think that's a bit of a roadblock, because we know Serral's very good in this matchup. We know Serral's just very good in general, right? And knowing that Serral is, very good, kind of puts us in this weird situation where now I feel as though if Astrea loses to Serral, it's going to be very difficult for Matcherino to pick up the rest of the map, so yeah, we'll see. We don't even have time for the Serral Astrea series? Yeah, apparently not, so we're just going to cast whatever we can of it. We do also have the magic of YouTube. We can also 2x. If it's genuinely that late game of a PvZ, we can just 2x through the crappy part. We can just 2x when nothing happens, We can just do that if we need to. Because apparently we are not going to have time, so... I don't have anything. I mean, this was just my... I'm going to want to 8x. I can't 8x. What does YouTube go up to? Yeah, we can literally 2x the speed, guys. If it becomes super late game PvZ where like they just stand and look at each other, we'll use that 2x button to get through a bit faster. That's okay. I'm just here to warm up a little bit ahead of the live WTL matches. They start in about an hour and 10 minutes, so we'll just get through what we can, guys. We'll just see what happens. Like I say, not too much of an issue if we don't cover everything. I'm just I was here just for a bit of a warm up. It would just be nice if my webcam turned on straight. It's so dumb. Like you guys are gonna think I'm stupid because I'm probably not gonna have my webcam on for the rest of the day, anyways. I know for a fact I'm not going to concentrate on the StarCraft if I know my webcam's not working, and I'm worried about why that may be. I know I'm just going to permanently keep going back to try and turn it on, and it's just going to, like, bug me for the entire stream, so I'd rather just be done with it now, and just know that we're done with it, and then just, you know what I mean? Like, I'd rather just be done with it now, and then I can just focus on not being on webcam, but at least I can, you know what I mean? At least I can just focus on the games. I'm really terrible at putting things to the side of my mind when it comes to those scenarios, So, yeah, I would much rather just kind of get that fixed, even if it's... And it's just, I think all it is it depends on when OBS opens in my webcam, and maybe it's the changing of scene collections. It's not like... What it's essentially doing is it's not restarting my webcam, or the link to my webcam. It's really weird. Yeah, now that I kind of know it's definitely that, I'll just make sure to open OBS and check my webcam before I go live the next few days. Anyways, Serral and Astrea going head-to-head here in this two maps that they will play against one another, starting up on Golden Aura for map number 1. I was just going to see a couple of links coming across. Adept is going to get chased around. Adept and Stalker out already here on the side of Astrea. And this Adept is already trying to get a little bit of something done. There's a few Lings starting to get on top of it. The Queen coming across, hitting that Adept quite heavily as well. So also just starting to find a good chunk of damage. Not a bad start at all. Just, yeah, pushing that back. 3 Lings go down. I guess it's not that bad for the Adept. Denying 3 Lings is actually pretty reasonable, so yeah, that's pretty neat. As you do have the Oracle coming up, the Warp Gate coming through, and just a few Lings, couple Queens all on the way out, of course. As we get things underway, here's Serral versus Astrea on Golden Aura. Kind of wondering what Astrea brings us in terms of build order. Obviously, just right now, the Stargate. Serral spots the Oracle, so gets a little bit of information there. You know, when you're kind of picking up information like this and so on, like, Serral's going to be able to start responding correctly. Like I say, if you're playing against Serral, I feel like you can't just sort of, like, play Stargate into your macro game. You got to have something kind of interesting about it, because we know Serral is just so good otherwise. Couple of Queens will fire, the Oracle will take some shots. We have 3 drones having gone down already. The Rotoran is about halfway done. Those Adepts will continue to shade down to the bottom side. The Lings are going to come in and they're going to look to try and jump on these Adepts, which is exactly what they will do. So the Adepts getting caught immediately. And just going to be seeing our Queens going to start helping with the DPS against those Adepts as well. So this is actually not so bad. A couple of Adepts go down, cleaned up pretty quickly. The Oracle tries to come around that right-hand side, but doesn't really get anywhere. And these Queens is going to put a bit more damage out onto the Oracles. spores still firing. There's again 5 more adepts coming through. We've got a couple more, well, we got 2 adepts, a stalker, and an oracle on the map right now. Did Astrea lose an oracle as well? It feels like this has been a rough start for him, actually. Kind of ended up losing a lot more than he maybe thought. As a couple of units just fire up, the Lings will take some damage as well. So some shots going off there. I'm just going to be seeing the Robo Bay as our choice of tech to follow us up here. So we are going to start getting into those splash damage units from the Robo Bay, whatever the full choice may be there. Obviously you expect Colossi, I think, a lot of the time. Disruptors are usually kind of supported with a little bit more. Colossi can stand on their own a bit extra, so that's generally the kind of division that you have in that scenario most of the time. I was going to see +1 missiles and the roach speed all coming up as well, so just going to get that ready. And you have our second robo facility as well, so we really are going to crank out Colossi here from Astrea in the next few moments. As the queens are there, the oracles will take some damage. I'm just going to push those over down to the bottom side. Those oracles continue around, and again, just going to see our Colossus, Twilight Council, and the robo facility all coming up. So really, again, sign up into that Colossi fully. And we've seen the Overseer flying through, a few extra Stalkers all coming up, and we got ourselves the Colossi coming in. Roach's missiles coming in, 5 on the way out. Couple of Colossi, the +2 attack, all coming out for a few moments as we do just have ourselves the... tend to go into the main base, but Serral is kind of dealing with that. We're not really being shown it, but there it is. Look at Den on the way up from Serral, so he's already just teching straight through. That's the thing, if you don't do much against Serral, he is just going to kind of tech up and get into kind of like monster mode position, you know? So he's going to begin to do exactly that. And, I mean, there is timings here. There are timings where you can probably do work as Astrea coming up, but in general, I just feel like this is where Serral's already in his comfort zone. He's already playing that macro game. A couple of Stalkers still in that prison, but I can't exactly say that they've been too successful. It feels like Serral has battered those off pretty easily. Killed an Oracle, killed a couple of those Stalkers. Just gonna see this army still pushing down the left. There's a few Colossi, the good few Stalkers all joined up. Army starting to fight. A few of those drones going down. The roach roaring as well. The roaches are popping as well. Also just dropping here. And to be fair, this push from Astrea, like I say, this is probably his most dangerous point in the game. It's just before lurkers are truly out. But that means he's got to go. Just settling for a base that's out over on the edge is probably not going to do it for him. He really needs to double down and just send it here, I think. You know, one base behind the 5th of Serral. Don't get me wrong, it's not nothing. It's just there's a lot more work to be done if this is how you feel like you're going to try and take Serral down. There's a lot more to be seen still as our Temple Archives comes up, the Disruptor coming in, the +2 attack and the Charge all coming by. Blinding Cloud just to help these Lurkers get some shots off and to keep them safe a little bit as well. And so with the Lurkers able to get those shots off, you are going to be kept back a little further then as Astrea, unable to really push into this position, unable to do too much else in the next few moments. Guys, again, I apologize. There's going to be ads during the game at the moment. I just can't do anything about it because we had to reset the stream so close to starting casting. So, apologies. Obviously, don't ever want ads in the middle of games, but it's just going to be unavoidable here during our current matches. So, apologies. Roaches across the map, find a Colossus, which is pretty much worst-case scenario here from Astrea. Like, that is absolutely not one of the things you want to be seeing. And Stalkers and the Colossi continue to ramp up some damage onto a few other units. The army continues back around into the center. Just coming through with all of that, we do see the Prism loading up and getting ready to come across for some even further damage as well. Obviously, this is what WardiTV is doing nicely. He is staying aggressive with that Prism. He is giving himself options, at least in that regard. So, that's one of the better things he can do. Give himself some options, give himself some chances at the very least. As you see the couple of Hydras, the few Lings going to go moving around. It's a Nidus network currently on the way up as well, so getting that underway. Let's just have Nidus coming through, the Carapace upgrade, the Hydra speed coming out as well. So again, seeing just general improvements from Serral as double abduct says goodbye to those disruptors. And that's obviously some of the efficiency a Zerg will typically find across the course of a ZvP. And that's typically why this ZvP matchup becomes a little bit tough. It's just going to be seeing our Colossi and Stalkers will continue to come through. So just gonna have ourselves the Colossi still hanging about. We've got ourselves the few... I mean, just in general, a few bits and bobs all kind of setting up, don't we? As the Spire comes through, Serral's clearly realizing he's gonna need something a little bit deeper in this game, maybe to just keep on trading. And so Nidus gonna try and come up in the main base. Let's just have ourselves a couple of Stargates coming by. And the Lings are gonna go run onto that Stalker on the Watchtowers. Just gonna go and try and grab that. Nidus does go down. All of these Lings will get picked away at here, so they'll pretty much all be falling. Just going to be seeing Hydras and Roaches and Ravages going to go back onto those Zealots. A few Stalkers will continue to take some hits. And Astrea still having to just deal with potential Niduses around the map at the moment. So again, that's a little bit of a scare factor. That's a little bit of a frustrating one to deal with, but that is where we sit. The Vipers are going to pull back around, the Lurkers and the Hydras all setting back up. Just seeing our Stargate and our +2 air weapons and all the rest of it still coming by as we continue to get settled here. In this game number 1, I mean 12, 13 minutes in game, we've had Astrea with a couple of pushes, now setting up into Stargates. It obviously feels as though Serral is probably also going to set up into some, anti-Stargate stuff. Things are kind of going as expected, I would say, for the most part here. As, the later this game goes, the more I like it for Serral. But, I mean, yeah, this is definitely going how I felt like it would. I mean, he's just abducting Colossi for kills. He's actually chasing High Templar. He's just killed 2 High Templar, 3 High Templar on the upper left side of your screen. That's a disgusting amount. That's actually a lot of damage taken. That is bad, bad, bad. Ouch. Carriers and Disruptors all coming through. We do have the Storm coming up, +2 air weapons, and the armor upgrade coming by. Roaches and Hydras are going to keep on pushing up to the top. It's going to be going through and just going to be seeing our Storm coming up, our Carriers all coming in. See our Lurkers burrowing up again. Our Disruptor shots will fly through. Gonna go bam bam for the Lurkers. That's nice. Obviously, Serral getting some revenge to 9 and 5th base of his opponent. And let's just see the 7 additional Corruptors all coming up. Again, 5 carriers coming at a time. This is going to start heading into that SkyToss versus Zerg later game. Don't think you can really kill. I mean, Goldenor is a difficult map to kill someone on. So that alone kind of just means that this is probably not going to end anytime soon. It's going to be seeing our Nexus coming down. The Hydras and the Lurkers going to come back over. As you just see the Ling Lurker Hydra just going to reposition over to the left here. Storm goes down. A few Hydras are going to get caught. Does feel as though we're just going to have ourselves really Serral in a position where he just straight up just cancels that base. I mean, he's definitely controlling the game. Yes, he's going to be forced into a later stage, but so far he's controlling. He's slowing Astrea from getting to base 5. Astrea's not building up a bank. All this time, Serral is building up a bank. It's going to be seeing our Flux Veins coming up, the shield upgrades coming through, Militia, Voids, and Tempest all continue to build. And that Lurker just going to go down as a couple of units move their way across, clean it up. That will indeed fall right there, as now Creep Tumors continue to spread onwards. Got a whole chunk of Spines coming out. The Corrupt is going to lead a charge through the middle of the map as well. Again, Tempest Carriers and all the rest continue to get settled as Serral moves to the top of the map, just for the moment. We really need to be doing something about these Vipers. If they just abduct every single time they move forward, they're going to get way too much efficiency, and that's something that Astrea is likely not going to be able to do much about, as there's going to be another carrier going down, and we're going to look for another one. Yeah, I mean, this is the problem. You just lost 3 carriers, and Serral lost a Corruptor and a couple of Hydras, and that's the value difference right now, is that Serral is just finding insane value. He snipes those 2 High Templar. There's just not really a way in which this becomes a competitive game from Astrea if he trades like this. Like, it's just not possible. It's not me being harsh, it's just I think the reality of the situation. You cannot win games when you trade this badly and the Zerg has controlled your bases so well. So the Zerg is mining freely, remember, and yet you're trading extremely badly into the Zerg. You know, like, this is genuinely something which is, well, it's just not good, right? At the end of the day, this just really isn't pretty. And so, I kind of find it hard right now to get excited for Astrea, because I don't really see what he's going to do in the next couple of moments to make me go like, aha, or wow, or, you know, that's how he's going to win this. Right now, I feel like he's very much so in the position of like, oh gosh, like, I'm just about staying alive, but I'm falling further behind by the minute here. And Serral is going to get a couple of Disruptors flying his way. Somehow they don't even hit anything. I think they hit half a Spinecraw or something like that. Nothing too crazy. And we'll just have ourselves the High Templar continue to come up. And just going to be seeing a few Zealots unloading over in the corner there as well. Prism unloads them. The +3 air weapons coming through. Shields are coming through. Armor upgrades as well, all coming out. Our Corruptors and the Ultras continue to move around for a few more moments. That Ultra going to get active on a few Zealots as well, so just going to pick those off. So you see the Prism getting pushed over the side. Corruptors and the Viper are going to go hunting for that, so just try and remove any further aggression that Serral might have to deal with. Let's make his life a bit easier as that Prism does indeed fall. Zealot's still taking some damage. And yeah, Tempest and the Carrier all coming up. Disruptors and Stalkers coming by. Void Ray is in production in a big way. Our Nexus goes down to the top right-hand corner. That's how our Mothership activates. The Void Ray gets a little catch. Oh, the Corruptors get a little catch with the Viper Abduct coming through. And just going to be seeing the rest of this army from Serral. Again, continuing to move about just for the moment. Zealots and Stalkers will continue onto the bottom left-hand side. So continue to hit over there. Continue to get some damage dealt. 4 Infest is currently in production. We know that those are going to be potentially a big thing as well. The later in this game we go, the bigger spellcasting becomes. We've already seen the Vipers be absolutely hugely influential while spellcasting. The Infestors truly should just add to that feeling. So definitely expect that to be a thing going into these next few minutes as the Ultras continue to control on the ground. Astrea, like I say, if I had to like ask one thing of him, if we had to rewind time and like put him in a better position, I think you've just got to take better fights. Like throughout this entire game, the efficiency has just been awful for Astrea, you know? When has he ever... I want to say when has he ever taken a good fight, which again might sound extremely critical, but you're playing against Serral, and that's what Serral's so good at. He's so good at making every one of these later game fights really look like it should be his fight and his fight only. He's so greedy, you know, like, it's just not fair. Like, he gets to win all the fights, but, yeah, that really is the strength of Serral. That really is one of his absolute, you know, positives. And that's why it's so hard to fight against him in ZvP, because even when he's behind, because he's that good at the later game engagements, even when he's behind, he's capable of, like, coming back through and saying, aha, you know, I'm behind right here, but I am able to kind of, you know, still take good fights with a worse army than I usually would have. That's how good he is at engaging. The Disruptor there only hits 1 Hydra. Now these Disruptors are derping forward as well. He does get one more disruptor shot on some of these ultras. We're going to pop the detection or the cloaking on the mothership, but the overseer is nearby, so we can still push through to some extent. I think we're going to just reach a point there where we get to a little bit too much, and things are going to be turned around right there. So Tempest still continuing through. Corruptors are plenty. A couple of Vipers, the Infestors on the way. The Queens are all building as well, so all of that coming by for the moment. And you have the Immortal High Temple and a few more cans coming up. The Lurkers are still producing as well. Well, they're starting up right now as we do see the 8 Broodlords and the 5 Lurkers on the way as well. So bringing all of those through, knowing that they are going to be of big importance here. Those Broods coming out, the Lurkers still morphing in, a few more Corruptors are indeed producing as well. So all of that is still being set into stone. As this Void Ray Archon High Templar Force comes back over to the left-hand side, everything gathering together, the Tempest joining on up. And you have our 8 Broods, the 18 Corruptors, the couple of Ultras, everything really being brought in right now as this DT is going to go slicing and dicing. 3 drones down already. Spore Crawler going to be in trouble. Now Voyage will come over. They're going to grab a Zergling. We're just going to see our Ultras and Lurkers making their way across the map as well. As we do see a couple of Lurkers already just being grabbed. Storm is going to be good there, so that's going to be pretty decent as well. That was a nice little Storm. As you see, Serral looking to engage forwards. There's the Tempest able to get some shots from afar. We're going to recall, which just means free pickings on a carrier. An Immortal got left behind. He didn't have the right ticket to get on that recall train. And so he gets punished as well. Serral just still winning these fights throughout. 6k, 5k in the bank. It's not that Astrea doesn't have a bank. He has been making up, to some extent, a little bit of the money, which he kind of needs here to kind of keep on fighting later into this game, but again, it's definitely not being efficient. It's funny because now we're at like 68 versus 57 drones. Serral doesn't need that many drones to saturate the few bases that are remaining for him left to mine, essentially. So, yeah, that part of it's quite funky too. Again, a lot of reasons why this game has been interesting, but it has just been a little bit of a masterclass of yeah, it has been a little bit of a masterclass of Zerg versus Protoss. If I'm going to be honest, I really think he's just played this out really solidly. I don't really have any criticism of Serral. And that makes me feel, you know, someone's going to come up on the YouTube video and be like, oh, well, you're so biased to Zerg because you didn't say anything bad about him. But, like, just don't feel as though he did anything. Like, you know, like, he didn't need to do anything differently in this game. Like, he's even been extremely good at dodging these disruptors on repeat. Like, that's not even maybe necessary. A lot of the time you just accept some of these disruptors are probably going to land. He's been very good at dodging a lot of the disruptors repeatedly, and that really does go a little bit of the extra mile to just help out as well, right? So, yeah, I really, like I say, I can't really criticize it all. I can only really praise Serral. And yeah, like, obviously it's not that Astrea's playing a bad game. He's just not playing a good enough game. Because his opponent is of absolute tip-top caliber. His opponent's one of the toughest to beat in the entirety of StarCraft 2, and oftentimes that just makes, you know, your good plays not look good enough. And that's kind of where I'm invested at right now, is we have ourselves the Flings over here and the Lurkers pushing forward. This little group of Protoss is probably not going to do too hot, right? I mean, if the Lurkers burrow up, they're going to be able to slaughter pretty much everything. We do kill one Lurker, but that wasn't exactly ideal, to say the least. Tempest Void Ray is still coming up, +2 coming through as well. Spore's going to make their way up that right-hand side, as we'll see now Serral just establishing this base. I haven't really talked about the base situation, but obviously the top right and top left bases are different bases on this map. Well, bottom left is a gold, top right is just a blue base, but if Serral owns both of those are both then a base that Astrea doesn't have, and that's just going to give Serral a massive net positive when it comes to this this game and continuing on in it, because Astrea is not going to have access to resources he would need to trade out, even if they traded evenly. And I've not seen resources lost in a little bit, but I can't imagine... Yeah, I can't imagine that... Yeah, I can't imagine it's going to be All that great as our Ling is going to wrap around. Oh, the mortals are going to get caught. Those extra drones coming out. Ultra. And it's going to come through, knock down a pylon and a couple of batteries are going to take some damage. Oracles are going to drop a revelation down. And it's just going to be seen. It's going through. Another storm comes out. Our broods are going to come flying about as well. Looking for some situations. Couple of fighters, a couple of feedbacks coming down, a couple of those infestors taking some hits. We are going to see the stasis ward catching. Corruptors going back and forth as we do have a little bit of setting up continuing. Obviously the Tempers are making it difficult for Serral to take some of these fights. Again, Lings, Broodlords, Infestors all coming up as we just have ourselves the army of Serral on the upper right-hand side. Again, plenty of Voids coming up, a couple of Oracles, the High Templar. Just have that Mothership continuing through as well. So, again, a lot of setting up, a lot of getting ready for the endgame fight, which really comes down to, can Astrea avoid the spellcasting of Serral to a good enough degree? And like I said, I feel like the unfortunate answer to that may just be, like, probably not. Like, it might be just very tough. Ship Cloaks here, but Serral always has Overseers. It's one of the first times I've really seen someone kind of, like, constantly have Overseers with their harassing squad, because since this Mothership change came about, you know, the Mothership seems to have been popping these defensive shields or cloakings quite a lot. I mean, it just feels as though I've seen quite a few times the Mothership cloaks up and it's like, oh no, I can't actually see you anymore, and it actually becomes an issue. Serral constantly has Overseers with those squads of units, so that cloaking actually doesn't really achieve all that much unless the Overseers get sniped down. So he's pretty much permanently ready to deal with that, which obviously goes a long way. Obviously helps out a bunch. And as you do see, the Corruptors and the Broodlords continue to go back and forth for a few moments. Things coming across. We do see the Void Rays and the Tempest continue around. Archons as well. This really hasn't been a slow game, though. I mean, obviously, a lot of the time we meme about late game PvZ, but this hasn't been a game where, like, just nothing happens. We get drawn out where, you know, nothing takes place. We've been seeing consistent fights and consistent trades, and, you know, we've been going back and forth a little bit and everything, too. It has been genuinely a fairly entertaining game. Like, Serral has been, you know, consistently running by and taking fights, and again, it might not have been a fast game, but it's been a lot going on over a long period of time. A set of Broodlings coming down there as the Overseers head down to the bottom left as well. It's just going to move across on that one. These couple of Lings going to come through. They're going to grab some probes. You do see, again, Tempest, Void Rays, a couple Oracles, and High Templar all coming out as well, so all of that continues into play. Going to be seeing those couple of drones continue to go down, and again, we actually have a base denial in the top right now. Serral mined from that for a decent amount, so that's a fairly reasonable place to be already. Just haven't had any amount of mining from that location is good, because again, that's mining that then Astrea will not access from that location. Of course, during all of this, Serral is still mining from the bottom left as well, so he's still finding for himself some good and very reasonable trades. As Void Rays and Tempest will make sure to kind of keep that position pushed back, and we're going to slowly try and push into it as our own base here, I imagine, as Astrea, who recalls bottom left to now try and make a play onto this base, and if he can, you know, in quick succession knock down both these bases, well, that could just be a big, glaring positive for him, right? And then maybe from there there's something he can do. His bank has been increasing, mostly mineral-wise. He's a little bit starved when it comes to gas, unfortunately. I'm not sure if he's going to be able to fix that up anytime shortly. He really does just need access to other bases. His gas is again to the point where he's mining out. So, again, there's only so much he can necessarily do there. Brit's still firing down. The Voider is going to fire up, going to grab an Overlord already. He's just going to nab that straight away as we continue to go down into this corner. A lot more drones going to be taking some damage. All of those drones taking damage, in fact, as we just see. Now the microbial shrouds going down, so they're going to go across as well. Fungal growth's going down. Just going to be some of the ultras sitting underneath. Parasect bomb helping a lot, man. The spellcasting's kind of disgusting. Like I say, spellcasting was going to be a big role in this. Astrea's army just melts, and whatever he can afford to rebuild, it's only bringing him up to about 110 supply, so it's not really enough. I'll just run to the upper side. Stalker's going to come through for a couple of those ultras. He's going to knock those down as well. Well, I mean, obviously as well, the fact that we're building Stalkers doesn't exactly bode well, because again, if you're remaxing on basic gateway units, typically not going to be enough. It's okay to quick remax on basic gateway units if you want to get some momentum and, you know, continue on from a push and then go kill the, kill the other guy. That's obviously not what's happening here at all, though. A very different circumstance right now. Here in this game number 1 between Astrea and Serral, and obviously Maturino and Basilisk in general here in the WTL. Next round of Stalkers will just get whooped in, and like I say, if we're building these, it doesn't really feel like we're going into this these upcoming fights with much of a hope. Serral's army should just be way too good. Yeah. Not trying to be boring, just kind of the way that things are going to be here. Once we have got the Stalkers and a couple of walls, couple of storms, you know, they will push back these smaller forces, of course, but that's kind of about it right now. As that roots continue up, all the crypt is coming out before ultras are coming in. Gonna start pushing down here and gonna get going into this bottom right side. He's gonna see our cryptos overhead. Stalkers and Immortals will continue through. Brood lane's coming about. That hatch on the right side will indeed go down, and we are just gonna have ourselves, well, again, Astrea making a bit of a play. In a way, it's because, you know, now Astrea's army is a bit more mobile than Serral, so Serral might not be in position all the time. Astrea has taken this as a chance to secure the top right. But again, all of these are plays being made after the fact of Serral just being way too far ahead. He's done way too much. And I think that's the issue. Astrea is going to be in a big spot of damage. Broodland's going to come out. They're going to fire through. Let's just have ourselves... Brood Lords continue to push towards the upper right side. Those probes continue to take a bunch of damage here. I'm just going to be seeing the... well, Stalker's going to go blinking forward. Fungal Growth kind of misses them at first, but Astrea just knows he ain't fighting this anytime soon, not properly. GG is called, and Serral takes the first map here off of Astrea. What's our first match in WTL today? Like, how upset am I going to be if I'm late to it? Let me have a little look. Liquid versus Mystery Gaming, that sounds good. Skillishin. Yeah, I think we're gonna try and make sure we're on time today, guys. So we'll do what we have to on this one as we get going. There's our drone and our probe coming about. We get things on the way. And we see where things will go over these next few moments, getting set up for the moment. patch pool coming through here as we get things on the way initially. We get things started on up. Oh yes, I just need to check something quickly. Oh yeah, sorry. We get set up in a fairly standard way just to begin with. Let's see where we're gonna take things, see how things are gonna go in the first few moments here. Let's see what we can get set up into. There's a couple of depths coming out that won't get coming through. The link speed is on its way up as well. So far so good. Again, just a couple of depths coming out, warp gate coming through. Seeing where we can get to in these early stages. We just have our link speed is about to complete, and so again we'll see a little bit of where this takes us, where this lands us in these early stages. I mean, obviously we'll have ourselves the tech choice of Astrea to be made. He's actually out on a couple of gateways, which is always a good sign, because that couple of gates generally is fun, because it's, you know, a little bit aggressive at the start. It kind of gets you going. Kind of into it as we get started up. Single Stalker just going to shoot at this Overlord as it tries to fly on in, looking for a little bit of information, looking for a little bit of grab, see what's going on. There's again the few Lings and the Overlords all coming around, the Queen coming up as well. You can see those couple of Lings getting wrapped around on that Adept. A couple of Zerglings will end up being pushed away, so they're going to get pushed back without really much issue at all. So not too much to go on that one. Just have, again, 10 Adepts continue through. The Stalker coming up. All these Adepts, let's see what he can do. Obviously, this is not glaives or anything, so you got to be a little careful. You're not going to go absolutely shredding through Lings that surround you or so necessarily. And I feel like with Queens nearby, it's probably just too much DPS for the Adepts to really withhold on, so yeah, I feel like there's only so much they can do there. Those Lings actually do surround, but maybe not quite in enough numbers. The important thing, though, is that Serral's kind of dealing with this. He's not letting Astrea kind of get too much done or anything in these early stages. I think that really adds up to help out a little bit. Yo, thank you, by the way, a little bit dicey, 17-month resub. Welcome back. Thanks for supporting today. Thanks for supporting the stream. Really appreciate it. And just have, again, thank the Evo Chamber. The Hive on the way through as we get settled here. And yeah, the few Lings are just going to go wrapping around a few Adepts as well. So again, some damage being dealt. Nothing too crazy across the board. Just Serral, for the most part, staying alive and making sure that this doesn't get too much done. Astrea has slowed Serral down a fair bit, right? You know, obviously the drone count is starting to increase again now, but initially we were kind of, like I said, taking a little bit of a slowdown from that. We just have ourselves a couple of rovers and the blink coming through. And yeah, eyes on that to see whether that will do anything interesting for us either, as our Stalkers, for the moment, are going to deflect some of those Lings. Those Lings are just going to push things back at the moment. Worth knowing, obviously, this is Astrea's map pick as well, so if there's a map he feels comfortable on in PvZ, clearly this is it. So he chooses to play Oceanborn. There's our Robo Bay, our extra gates all coming through, bringing all of that up for the moment. Lings at the front are just going to run straight into a Stalker there, so that's going to be run in Hit the Stalker, that's a wall off, run back. Ling's obviously just checking to see if there is anything they can do. Overlord speed coming up, +1 missiles coming in, Hive and the Hydra Den all building as well. Let's just get our Ling still chilling on the top right. They can actually find that gateway and just shut that down, which is nice. Get rid of that for the future. Let's just wrap around this. Okay, we're taking a lot of hits again. Hive, Hydra Den all coming through for the moment. And a couple of Colossi, the +1 attack upgrade building up as we speak as well. Those Lings will get rid of the gateway, so the gateway will indeed fall. It will be dealt with. We've seen our Lurker Den continues through, so Serral a very similar route to last time. Same as Astrea, really. He's just going into those Colossi again. So clearly Astrea feels as though from Game 1 to Game 2 that, you know, he doesn't necessarily need to change too much up. Clearly feels pretty okay about how things are going. Hive, Lurker Den all coming about here. Again, just going to have that +2 missiles on the way. The Groove Spines is on the way. Bringing a lot of this up right now. Those extra Hydras all pumping out. Stalkers and the Depths and the Colossus continue to make their way across the other side again. So again, just on the move at the moment. Big push out to the top. I mean, this is kind of what Astrea did last game. He kind of hit the timing as Lurkers were starting to get ready to go. Serral's going to buy a bit of time to get to those Vipers. That will help him a lot in this incoming defense. And if you can hold on against this, then you would get into a fairly reasonable place. We'll see. Let's see if Astrea can hit this timing well enough, as we have our units going over the left-hand side. And Hatchery gets picked away at. These Adepts are going to shade up. The Lings are going to be there to help deal with everything as well. And this army now is going to rotate back over to the right-hand side. Just going to mix up where it wants to go for the next few moments too. 25 additional Stalkers on the way out as Lings all gather up. Again, the Colossi, the Stalkers continue through. The Group Tumors going down, and the rest of the Queens and the Roaches make their way around that right-hand side. Those Stalkers just getting pushed back straight away. The additional Lurkers are all getting built. Spinal Glands is on the way with the +2 missiles and the +1 carapace, so again a lot of investment on those at the moment as we continue through. The Colossi, well, the first one just goes down right there. This is where the Vipers are absolutely going to shine, as we mentioned. If Serral can survive to the point where those Colossi, you know, where those Vipers come up, they get their energy, you know fine well they are going to do very, very well. And that's exactly what we kind of just saw right there, is we just have now Stalkers, Disruptors, and Colossi going to start moving up the map. The Roaches getting chased around. The Stalkers will go and chase a little bit also, so trying to find a little bit extra right now. Again, just find whatever it is that we can in these early moments still. +1 air weapons coming up alongside a Storm upgrade, so that Storm will come through too. A couple of Disruptors continue in. Whatever voice pack that is absolutely cursed, by the way. Jesus. What are we doing? As the Vipers will make their step forward here, and they will look to see if they can get something done. Pushing in, the Stalkers and the Disruptors gather up a little bit. And Storm, like I said, coming through from Astrea. We know that that'll be important the later this game goes. The more so he's probably going to need this Storm upgrade to really help him take some of these later fights. Lurkers just find a good few Adepts. Love that. Unburrows only the Lurkers that need to dodge away from the Disruptor. That was a really, really good... that was just a genuinely really good Unburrow and split. Like, that was actually great. That was actually just genuinely straight up spot on. Damn. That's working cool. That's just Serral, right? Serral does several things a lot of the time. That's absolutely one of those. As we just have ourselves the army, the Roaches, and the Lurkers gathering back over to the center. Lurkers in the bottom left getting set up. Stalkers drop down and changing. The few Lurkers are going to go after the Adept. Lurkers continue to move around. Lurkers will sit and fire there. A couple of disruptors will fire up, but the Lurkers will dodge backwards nicely. Another couple of Lurkers trying to come through once more. The first Lurker gets picked off already as we move across. These units continue to go over. Stalker continues to get pushed away to the side. There is that Lurker going down. Another Storm comes up. Another disruptor shot fires just for the moment. This Great Spire and Altered Cavern both come up then, so we get both of those on the way. Additional Lings are coming out, +3 missiles, and the +2 Carapace building as well. So a lot of good things coming up right here as Revelation goes down. Hydra's going to get struck. The Stargate goes down. Stalker's flicked down trying to catch the Lurker. Oh, the Viper, sorry. The Lurker at least will fall to the Disruptor hits. So at the same time as Lurker's on the other side hitting a cannon, can probably get a High Templar kill very easily too. Lurkers just kind of all over the place, doing what they should. I mean, Serral just splitting up a few units here and there, finding efficiency with them units. And giving himself a great setup from this as the Viper gets a little abduct out. That is going to be one Tempest that's immediately in trouble. Storms down, and the Overseer getting shot down. That will pretty much just clean that up. The Lings come over there. They're going to clean up the Stalker as well. It's just going to pick that off too. As Ling, Lurker, Hydra regathers once more back to the center of the map. 10 additional Lurkers all coming out. The 6 Queens are on the way. The 11 Hydras too. All of that continues to build. As the Hydras will just knock down that set of rocks. Spines are going to set up, the spores are going to go down. Obviously we do have our Tempest, Stargates, and Immortals all building. Dark Shrine is on the way up, and the army of Astrea wants to rotate back around into the center of the map. That's nice. Obviously Astrea, any free units are free units. You take those. Disruptor shot going to land slap bang on the middle of those Hydras. It's a wonderful little connection right there. It's going to get a follow-up abduct on a Colossus, though. Oh no! Disruptor and all of those units die to Lurkers. That's the thing. It's, Serral is almost all over the place with all these different sets of Lurkers that he constantly is finding great value as units kind of wander in and just Lurkers are left behind, get caught up. Again, 5 Ultras continue out. The Spire is about to finish up. Serral really is just playing a very similar style to what he played in that last game. Clearly does not feel the need to necessarily change it up too much to really kind of dive into things that are way too different from what we saw previously. So, absolutely going to just stick with that for the moment. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that. If it works, it works. Don't fix what isn't broken, you know? That classic saying. Army comes back over, we get set up a little bit. I see a Storm on that ramp there is going to get a little bit of damage done as well, so a little bit extra out of that one. Infest's continuing to look around as they would love to get something done. We're seeing Serral launching into this Disruptors. I mean, he's just going to send it. The Ultra's tanking a lot of Storm damage, but obviously they're tanking enough they can do so. We're now going to start abducting Tempest by. The Ultra's still staying active here. We do go back and forth. A couple of Lurkers firing up. And again, this army of Serral are going to return back towards the middle of the map. Queens are here. A couple of Lurkers will begin to take some shots as well. And we'll just have ourselves the extra Voids, the extra Immortals, all continuing to come on through for the moment as our Nexus gets on down on that bottom side. Those couple of Lurkers are going to unburrow and go elsewhere. The Zealots will finish and move on forward. And we'll just have ourselves these Corruptors able to get rid of the Prism. The Ultra's clearing up. Actually lose the Lurker Den, but kind of a stage of the game where Serral's not in immediate need of building more Lurkers, so rebuilding that Lurker Den should not be too much of a strain on him. What does Astrea need to do differently to make this game go different than the last? I think a lot of it comes down to really controlling the Vipers a little bit more, but just more effectively. The Vipers were really allowed to do so much last time around. I almost definitely feel as though that needs to be something we keep an eye on there as the Ultras come through, they fire a shot, they kill off the ZT. If we can stop the Vipers from being as effective, from being as good, then what you can effectively do, you should really be able to get into a better position of the game from there, right? So, it definitely doesn't seem like a terrible idea. As the Ultras come by, gonna get a little snag once again, picking up whatever they can. Void Rays overhead. This is a good fight. So obviously the Tempest Void combined and these drones on their own as well. I think this is a base you go after, no? Astrea is not sure. He's afraid something's going to show up, so he falls back to his static defense. And he just kind of lets that base be, but I feel like it's moments like that where you need a bit of confidence. You need a little bit of like, oh yeah, I can get forward here. Oh yeah, I can jump on that base. I can do something about that. So yeah, I feel like those are the moments where you need to really kind of get through and really actually start to make a bit of a difference. As Storm comes down, Ultras will be chased away, a couple of Zealots as well. Stalker's coming through there to push everything back. The three Infestors, sorry, are on the way up with a couple more Vipers, the 6 Queens as well. Just gonna have ourselves the Overlord, 17 of them on the map. I was looking at that. I was thinking, for some reason I thought it was the production tab, and I was like, the Overlord count being built huge, but no, it's just the unit tab that's been up for a while. Kind of like to see what's in reproduction here, though. As Astrea loses a lot, he's going to lose a lot of probes, especially, and this base is a goner, so lose on the right side, and this is where having already struck on the left side would have been nice, because then he could continue to strike on the left side and make Serral really pay for this. Instead, it just doesn't feel like Astrea does anything about this. He's like, oh, Serral, you want to take down my base? Sure, and what do you do about that? You know, you've got to have a punch back, otherwise, eventually Serral is going to dry you out of this game. Well, that's just not the case, right, from Astrea. Like, he just doesn't approach it in such a way. Like, he doesn't get that punch back, and I think that's what's missing as well. And I can understand it, because attacking into Serral can be a terrifying prospect, but sometimes you just gotta have the confidence to say, right, this is my moment, this is where I'm gonna have my best shot. I gotta do something here, because if you don't do anything at all, you're probably gonna have a really, really bad time of it. So, yeah. Things to look at. Things to think of. As do have our game continuing through. I mean, Astrea still maxed out. He actually already has a more comfortable bank than he had at this stage of the game last time. He's definitely had a little bit more efficiency throughout so far, I would say. Resource loss is only a 4k difference, which really isn't that bad. Last game, like I said, I didn't really see it so much in the last game, the resources lost, but I think it would have been a lot higher, because Astrea was consistently losing. Like basically the Vipers would be full energy, they'd abduct everything, and Serral wouldn't lose a thing in return, it felt like. As we just have the continuation of Ultras down this left side. This little cannon battery point is fun when you're pushing, but then it is resources that kind of just get drained away immediately once you kind of give up on that position. So I like what they do, but then again, it does come at a cost, right? It's not free to just sort of set those up on repeat, especially in a game where it seems like we're once again going to be dueling over the final bases and flanking over, you know, each and every mineral on the map. Static defense here from Serral will start to go down. He doesn't have units in position, so this bigger push of Astrea has potential. This hatchery might just straight up go down. Serral's already pulling the drones as though he knows it will. Yeah, the Interruptors are going to sit tight. He's not going to move forward, so he is just going to wait. Looks like he's going to set up a new line of static defense, so yeah, we're just going to relocate those spore crawlers across and just try and do something a little bit differently instead here. Couple of broods continue on the way out. I'm just going to be seeing our well, Infestors coming up, the spores are on the way, the drones all coming up. And you got a few more static defenses down, as we just have ourselves. The setup really continuing to build up right now. Once again, just Astrea trying to retake that left base. He's been denied this right base, so that's the problem. If Serral takes the right side base that was Astrea's before, but once again at that base deficit, but if he's holding the left base, surely he can push up and deny that Zerg base that's just north of him. I'd be kind of shocked if that didn't come about, but I guess we shall see what actually goes down in a moment or two. I feel like that's the thing that maybe we're missing from Astrea. Like that, I may be finding it hard to pinpoint, but I really do think sometimes he's got to make a few more plays on these bases. I know Serral's very good defensively and no run-bys not always working, but it just feels like Serral's constantly denying a base or two, and then there's just no response from Astrea, and if you can't find that response, And that becomes very difficult, you know? That does genuinely become an issue. Trying to figure out how to kind of step forward from there as an observer goes down. The Corrupt is able to grab that nice and easily as well, so that's a quick little grab. Again, now our Immortal still coming out, our Tempest still coming in. For a few more moments, continue to set this up. DT's going to try and slip by as well. I feel like we're at the point where single DT running into bases is long gone from the list of opportunities that can be successful, because there's just stacked defense all over the map. I feel like a single DT is not going to cut it. If you're going to make DTs work, I think it has to be chunks of DTs, maybe even with Shadow Stride, really making confident kind of blink forward plays. You don't really see it right now the way it's currently set up, as Ultras are going to go diving down onto that bottom side army side, just going to clean up over here a little bit. A couple of Neural Parasites go down and just utilizing these Ultras to, these Immortals, sorry, to clean up, although now the Ultras are really derping out. The Immortals are going to fight each other, and in the end, these couple of Immortals will actually get to survive. Should have just A-clicked the Ultras on them to help out, but a little mistake was made. Parasitic Bomb Fungal combo was nice, but doesn't stay long enough to really do anything too significant, so not too much of an issue, all said and done. In the end, we lost the shields and a little bit extra off the Void Rays, so it's still chip damage that now adds up. At some point, you know, if that happened enough times, and it's just that much damage done each and every time, those Void Rays would die, man. They would fall. Got more spines setting up, everything coming through, cannons and batteries all being built. +2 air armor is on the way, so we continue to bring that in as well. You just see our Tempest continue to come back and forth, dropping a Revelation with the Oracle, trying to keep track of everything, of course, is you know, a challenge in itself in these sort of situations. As now have ourselves the Tempest pushing up. Again, like I say, this base kind of feels like one you might be able to keep denying as a stray. I don't know if it ever would become your own base. It's very close to the Zerg Natural and so on, but at some point do we not need to make that happen? Because Serral is taking the same base on the opposite side. Again, Astrea is going to have to trade very decently throughout the course of this game now, if he ever wants to kind of make that become like a bit of a difference or so. Definitely a pretty wild time right now, as we just have Corruptors and Broodlords continue to come about right here. Vipers as well. Pretty wild game as Astrea goes to push forward. The thing is, with games like this, Serral is so patient as well. Like, I think patience is one of Serral's biggest skill sets, and it sounds almost ridiculous, like, well, he's just patient. Like, surely everyone can be patient, but there's something about being able to hold your nerve and just knowing you can hold and wait and wait and wait. You know what I mean? Like, there's something about that which kind of just, you know, is something that a lot of people can't do. And being patient to the right extent is something you just can't really do. You know, that, you know, not everyone can do at least. So it's actually very interesting to see, you know, just how powerful it is, because you can see Serral just has no immediate interest in going to do anything right now. So he's just going to sit back, hang around, just kind of wait for the opportunity to present itself. And if that opportunity is not going to present itself, then he'll just keep on waiting. He'll keep on, you know, just, you know, hanging about. And is Astrea really kind of getting back in the game during this time? No, not really. You know, I mean, you look at what Astrea is doing right here, and it's pretty minimal. Like, he's fought off a base. He's going to try and take this base. That's now equal bases on the map. Well, Serral's probably still okay with that, because he knows overall he can probably still trade better given the longer game. So I don't even think he's going to be too concerned in that regard. As these autos continue through, the couple of cannons will begin to go down. Well, that attack into the natural. I mean, I guess that's it as well. As you commit more on the left-hand side, you're going to start losing your main base, your natural, your structures over there are going to start going down as well. These are all going to become pretty big issues. So all of those things will definitely begin to add up as well. As our Void Rays go pressing forward, a little check to see if they can do anything. The answer so far is not really. So it's the Archon and the Immortal just going to sit there, push some units back again. Broods, Corruptors, Ultras, Luggets, all on the way through still. That's just how ourselves, the Infestors, are getting set up. And the Tempest, the Voidra, and the Immortal building as well. A couple extra cannons coming through the Disruptor to clean out changelings. It's a little bit of an extreme method, but I suppose it works. And like I say, it's just eventually we're starting to see this main base coming under fire. You're going to start losing your production here. Like, this does become an issue over time as these Ultras are going to run back to Queens. Honestly, they could turn and fight that smaller group of units. We're catching an Archon out in the front with those Broodlords as well. And these dances on either side of the map are going to start become bigger and bigger deals. There's an Overseer here, so if we need to, we can provide detection against the Mothership, although I believe its cloaking will have just about run out now. These couple of Zards are putting in wonders. Holding those Ultras off, allowing the Immortal a good chance to deal some good amount of damage. It goes a long way in the end, as 22 additional Zerglings are all coming up right now. Well, I'm going to see another push towards the natural expansion. A couple of bits and bobs going down here. As we are going to see the Spire actually get shot down. We should have a Greater Spire too, so maybe the Spire is not the most important. Don't know what the upgrades are. It's one of my biggest qualms with this UI is that the upgrades aren't always shown. Sometimes the APM is shown instead. There we go. So we are fully 3-3 on the flyer attacks. So the Spire doesn't really matter too much other than being something you could rebuild another Greater Spire off of, for example. And so things continue in, the next continues to go down. Stasis Ward coming up, and Voidras, Tempest, and Oracles continue to gather in the upper left-hand corner. Really do take a few moments now, just keep on chilling. Just seeing the 5 Tempests all coming through, 19 Corruptors, 3 Ultras, 8 Infestors, 3 Vipers. Someone gets a little cheeky pick-off on an Oracle right now. Let's just see ourselves. The Ultras continue to fire through. The Stargate will take some extra shots of damage. Just going to be seeing the Mothership going back up the right-hand side. So this is going to go back in a way. Again, we got ourselves this army on the left-hand side continuing to get settled up. Continue to all gather in. So guys, real talk for a moment here, because this game's getting long and it's clearly getting stalematey. How long are we talking? Are we talking like if I want to cast WTL in 10 minutes, like I need to skip like a serious chunk of this game? Or are we talking like if I want to cast WTL in 10 minutes, we're going to miss like maybe the start of a game, you know? Like, but I know some people know how long this is. I wouldn't usually ask for spoilers, but like now I'm genuinely curious because I'm not sure if I can make the right decision on what we should do without knowing whether this is going to be like, you know, 30 more minutes or like 15 more minutes, you know? We're talking about an hour game time? Oh, Jesus. Okay, okay. Well, even if I 2x, then we're not going to get there in time, are we? Probably not. Maybe we watch the entire of the rest of this in 2x, guys, and then we just try to zoom through. Does that sound good to you guys if we just, if we 2x it? It's gonna sound a bit weird, but like, maybe if we 2x it, we can make it through. Do it? Okay, let's 2x it, guys, because we got WTL coming up. Alright! This is gonna be speedcasting, as, whoa, suddenly PvZ looks so entertaining. I do imagine if this goes to the hour game time, that generally you're probably expecting to see quite a few moments of this game turn into... Yeah, I do expect you to see quite a few moments of this game probably turn into like a sit back and not much goes on, you know? Like, I feel like that sort of becomes a factor, so... We'll see what happens. We do see, obviously, Corruptors are trying to find fights. Serral's still just picking away at this main. You look at the minimap and you can see a lot of what's been going on and a lot of the issues that stand for Astrea. He's slowly losing control of the map, and so he's going to be forced to only play on the left side. Then you're going to have to rebuild reproduction structures over there, and if you're rebuilding your structures over on the left-hand side of the map, you're generally going to have a pretty bad time because that's money invested on the left side. But you kind of need to have just, you know, build up armies and to keep on fighting and to keep on trading, right? Like, these are things that just need to happen, so I guess we will see. As, yeah, I mean, obviously when the little bits of harass come in, they go pretty quickly, but there's moments like this where there's just going to be a lot of positioning still and a lot of moving around. That's where, you know, games like this kind of become a little bit stalematy, and like I say, for PvZ late games, sometimes a little bit uninteresting. You can see, obviously, these Lings continue to pick through. I think that's just a guarantee. It isn't worth it for Astrea to put his army out of position to defend the main base anymore. But then, like I say as well, you do then have to invest in some amount of reproduction in the bottom left. What that does do for Serral is it does deny to some amount what Astrea can rebuild into, because rebuilding 5 Stargates and a Fleet Beacon's maybe not so bad. But there's never a world here where Astrea is going to be able to warp in like 20 Stalkers off of 20 gateways that he's built up in this entire game. Like, that just ain't happening, you know, as Serral is apparently going to commit drones back over to the other side of the map, so he's going to go and do that straight away. As there you go, those drones. A few Zealots run by. Yeah, the last Lings are just going to get rid of this main base completely of Astrea. These drones don't even know where to go to die. As they are finally going to find the base here. They're going to surround a cannon that will never do anything. They're not meant to. They're just getting given up so that Serral has more supply available. Obviously, with more supply available, you can afford more things. And you can just get more army up at any single point of time. As Tempest firing through, see a couple of different structures continuing to drop. Corruptors will back it up as well. Spire comes along and just going to be seeing a couple of Stargates are still building up also. So a lot of bits and pieces coming by. Let's just have ourselves the... okay, a push from Astrea. I mean, we might end up having a similar situation for Serral, where he also starts to lose his main base and so on. Obviously, from a Zerg point of view, it's much less expensive to rebuild your production, because your production is usually just single structures, as long as you still already have hatcheries on the map, which is usually going to be the case, right? So, rebuilding the tech here for the Zerg is the expense. That's much less of an expense as it is for Protoss. You can see already 7k, 2k banked from Astrea, but 15k, 8k banked from Serral. Gives up even more drones. He doesn't really have anything else to mine at the moment. And this is only probably going to become even more of a stalemate. We're really going to get to a point here. Yeah, we're really going to get to a point here where we're just not really able to do anything else. Right? Like, there's going to be a point where they just stand and look at each other because they've chipped away at all of the points of wicked defense. And then there's going to be two armies that look at each other that don't really want to fight, because why would anyone want to be the aggressor in this situation? It's only going to screw you over. And that's more or less where it had the StarCraft music sped up's kind of funny if you hear it. Fungal growth goes down, the Corruptors in the skies, the Broodlords will continue to gather, as we are going to see some Broodlings dropping through. I guess my question becomes, do I ever see Astrea winning this game over Serral? And I think that's a good question, because in my eyes, I think Serral is too well set up. I think Serral is absolutely, no doubt about it, just too well set up. Like, he has such a big bank. Astrea is drained of gas. He has currently no gas mining. If he has no gas mining for the rest of this game, if he doesn't find a base he can get gas from, his army is just this. And eventually, he loses units one at a time. A Viper here, a Viper there. It may not be immediate, but Serral has so much more wiggle room where he can lose a little bit, he can try and get an abduct and fail and rebuild that Viper, whereas any abduct that goes off from Serral is going to be a major success that Astrea just cannot come back from. So does Serral just have Astrea completely cornered, and it's just a case of playing out the formalities of this? I actually kind of think it might be. Like, unless there's a base that has gas available for Astrea that we've just not seen yet. But I don't think there is, otherwise I think he would have made some attempt to take it. Setting up stasis wards, slow pushing forward. The Spore Crawlers revelated here, so they are seeing up that ramp. As we do have the Tempest getting caught. That's a good set of fungals, actually, because now you see a couple of these High Templar going down. We kill the Tempest, and like I say, Astrea's army is not going to really just rebuild out of anything. Like, he doesn't have the money. He built 5 Tempests, that was the last of his gas. He had 900 gas left. So he chooses to go 5 more Tempests, which is probably the right call. Playing units that are extremely efficient from a distance and in theory can trade without taking losses. That's what he needs, but it's going to be a massive uphill struggle when Serral is the controller on the other side. That's really going to be a problem. I'm not going to lie, when I first fed it up, I was like, oh, this is a bit crazy because, you know, there's still some harassment stuff going on, but at this point, this is where the speed up absolutely makes no difference to what you're seeing in the game, because they really are just sat looking at each other like, oh, well, how are you doing today? Well, how are you doing today? Oh, I'm going to post stasis ward down. Well, I'm going to, you know, send a changeling at you. Oh, the ever-thrilling late game of PvZ. If only we could do this when we're watching these PvZs live, man. If only we could have a little bit of PvZ like this when it's live. Sometimes That might be a big improvement to PvZ, but yeah, we're just gonna have ourselves the obviously everything's still settling down and joining up, and another Archon getting caught. These are again the costly things, which I mean they're just expensive, man. We're gonna get the kill there. Every single kill really does matter right now as well, so it does add up. It does become more of an issue. Yeah. It's just a complete stalemate. I mean, Serral is literally losing creep tumors. Astrea is losing. Astrea actually hasn't lost anything in a few moments, right? I mean, apart from that Archon. It feels like, I guess, Serral's losing really nothing, and then when I say Astrea's not losing anything, it's just like, oh, he only lost one Archon, but actually one Archon's a pretty huge deal in the grand scale, you know, in the scope of this game. In this game specifically, it's actually a massive deal that Astrea can't really deal with. Serral makes a move with the Broodlords. And yeah, resource loss was just shown there, 65k to 47k. That's a huge, huge difference, but that obviously is affordable. No mining happening at all on the map. 0 probes, 1 drone from Serral. Oh, this StarCraft track is wild with this speed up. Yes, you guys ever listen to StarCraft soundtrack sped up? That's fun. Alright guys, if you just joined us, we've got live WTL starting in a couple of minutes. Apparently this game goes on a while. So we're literally watching it at 2x speed just to kind of speed on through, you know. It might be a couple minutes late to WTL, but I think, according to what people have told me, we should just be able to watch the rest of it like this. And then be fairly on time, considering WTL has a couple minutes of intro and stuff. I think we're going to be okay. Broodlords will come forward. Fungal Grove trying to get a little bit of a catch. Scarling's coming forward. Azard and a couple cannons taking damage. Obviously, what Astrea is essentially hoping for is that... The thing is, it almost feels like what you're hoping for in this moment is that Serral overcommits. But does Serral ever overcommit in the... Like, that's just not something that Serral does. You know? He never overcommits. And if Serral never overcommits, then what are we really hoping for? The one time Serral makes a misread or a miscall on a fight in ZvP? I mean, I guess you are still chipping away with these Tempests, and they are obviously going to give you some opportunity. They are going to give you some amount of chance to get work done. There's Infestors, Broods, and Corruptors all gathering. We just have ourselves the bottom left corner of Astrea. I mean, he's slowly losing the upper side base. That was a point of contention for a while earlier, but has not really been the case for a little while at this point either. 18 Void Rays. I feel like Void Rays are kind of a funny one as well, because actually I feel like Void Rays are not going to do so hot if they just get fungled as well. Then they're really just going to get held out of distance. They're really quite vulnerable units. So I don't even feel like Astrea has the best possible kind of, you know, air army. Astrea apparently decided to go back up to 1 probe. I'm not sure if he found a reason. I guess maybe he wanted to build something with his minerals. I see a couple of creep tumors continue through. 15, 21 creep tumors spreading as Serral really just presses into Astrea's side of the map. Astrea, yeah. No gas for Astrea. Yeah, he's not had gas for like literally like probably 10 minutes of game time. I think since we sped this up, Astrea's had no gas mining. Or like he was mining out his last assimilator when we decided to go 2x speed. And it's very much so just stayed there, right? So it makes another move to the bottom side, and again, it's just going to be those slow chips. We basically, I mean, this is what always happens in these PvZs. Like, from a caster's perspective, we sit and we wait, and we're essentially just waiting for the one final fight, right? And we're going to chip, and at some point the players are going to commit through, and then we get to shout and scream again, but until then, it is just waiting for that final fight to be found, which is very much so just what we're doing at the moment. 53 minutes of game time so far. Well, guys, I guess we're not going to be casting the rest of Matcherino vs. Basilisk today. You know, it's so funny, I said this at the start and people are like, oh, Wardy's in for a surprise. Usually I roughly check how long the series takes. Like, you know, I roughly like go on and I find the start of the match and then I kind of go forward until, you know, I like jump like super far forward and try and find like the break between the two series and be like, okay, this took like 2 hours on WTL, probably take me like an hour and a half. It didn't do that today. I didn't do that today because I was just like, you know, usually an hour and a half's fine, so I'm just gonna go live an hour and a half early and just commit. Yeah, what a great day not to check roughly how much time we needed to cast a series. You recommended skipping this? With Serral, long game. People like Serral and long games, right? I mean, it's just, people just into that, you know? People just into that, so it's all good. I mean, so what? We had to, you know, we had to 2x speed it. We've done worse things in the past, you know? People have been more annoyed at us in the past for other things, so I think we'll be okay. I think we'll be fine. Oh, a little close-up of Serral. As Broodlords fly around the map. He's obviously who the winner's going to be since the 35-minute mark. Yeah, I mean, I don't disagree. Most of the time, there should be Serral winning it. Astrea obviously plays for the slight. God damn it, bless me. Oh my god, sorry. Sneezing like crazy. Obviously, Astrea plays for the slight chance that mistakes are made, or you can take that one final fight in his favor somehow. It's not impossible. That's why he's in this game. He's absolutely within his right to try to make that work out for himself, so no issue there. You know, I wanted to cast more games before live WTL. Doesn't really matter how many games we cast as long as we, you know, just have enough games to, like, you know, add us to the live WTL, and that's obviously just fine in this case. Okay, this might be my favorite soundtrack sped up so far. Bro, I'm really not joking when I say not really anything has happened. Like, even Astrea's supply is like, it's gone down, but considering we're watching this in 2x speed, I still feel like we're barely seeing or missing anything from happening. There's got to be a fight kind of soon. At some point, the triggers are going to be pulled, and we are going to be off into a big engagement as Serral is ever creeping closer forward to, like, just the base of Astrea. Like, Astrea is running out of space. He's running out of time. What's your bank, Astrea? Don't say. Don't say he's just going to leave. Don't do it. No. Don't just leave. Is he just going to send it? He's just going to send. Well, okay. If he just sends it, that's fine. No. There we go. The big fight happens, and I mean, this is basically a GG from Astrea. That's basically. What's this music? That's basically Astrea just saying GG. Like, he's just like, okay, I actually cannot win this.